can do this in between.
Okay, great. So I'm going to call the meeting to order at 7:03. We'll rise for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So I'm going to make a motion that we change the order of our agenda and move the policy review to the first item, since we have Alyssa Jobin, the head of circulation, here with us. Is there a second to that motion for the change? Thank you, Sohini. All in favor? So it's 4-0-0. Great. So thank you for joining us. And I hope everybody got the new version of the circulation policy that was sent out this afternoon. Is there something you'd like to bring to our attention before?
Yeah, so there's a couple big changes. So the biggest one is obviously taking out the mention of fines. There is one part in which fines are still mentioned. It's at the very end under some of the definitions. So it's under excessive charges. And so it's excessive charges is for fines and fees over $10 or in replacement costs. And the reason that fines are still left there is there are a few GMILCS libraries that are still charging fines. So if we had a patron from another library that has those excessive fines from their library there, we would have to block them from checking out. So that's the one place where it still made sense to have that in.
Okay.
So that's everything related to, everything else related to fines should be taken out. And then we did make a pretty big change as far as children's cards. So we've now split children's and teens up. So the big reason for this change was to make the financial responsibility piece really clear. So I worked with Kathy, our children's librarian, to kind of make sure that this sort of worked with what they do down in children's. So we split it that child cards are now 5 to 13, 14 to 17 is a teen card, and then 18 and up is an adult card. And so children, their parents are financially responsible for all materials on their accounts. Teens are now financially responsible for their own materials. We decided that 14 we felt was an old enough age in which the child can figure out what to do about it. So we'll speak with them about any damages on their card, and then they can work it out with their parents or take care of it on their own, whatever works best for them. I felt that this was better for the privacy piece. We aren't, up through 13, there has to be a parent with them at some point in the library anyways. But then at 14 is when you can pretty much wander around alone. So it made sense that at 14 you'd be able to get your own card on your own, and you would be responsible for your own materials. And we bumped up the age of adult cards. It was previously 16. We moved it to 18 just because I have a lot of 16-year-olds who come in and don't have their own license yet. The only difference previously was that children their parents were in charge of renewing their cards, and then once you turn 16, you were in charge of renewing your own card. We have to make a lot of exceptions for a lot of 16-year-olds who don't have a license yet, so it just made sense to bump it up to 18. If you have your license at 16, you can renew it on your own. If you don't, we don't have to make it as an exception. So those were the biggest changes.
Great. So I did look over the policy you sent out originally. Can you just let us know what the difference is with the policy you sent out this afternoon?
I believe that the one change in there is going to be for the business book group. Yep.
We were still kind of working on language for that. If you want to speak to that, that's fine.
Yeah, so we just changed it. It was previously, the language was business book group, and then there was a card for the business book group, but it really made more sense for it to be a little bit more specific for the Chamber of Commerce. We had to change the language because the Chamber of Commerce name changed, and also then we knew that this card was specifically for chamber members who were attending the book group, not that business book club members had to get a separate card. And then we clarified what was the documentation that chamber members needed down further in the policy. We have that chart, and so that's just clearer for anyone who's looking to get that type of card.
Great, thank you. Does anyone have any questions for Alyssa or Yvette on the policy?
I do, and it's essentially about, if there is, a damaged or lost charge, I saw on the bottom part that you said, it's mentioned that it's gonna be on the card.
Right.
Will having the damaged or lost being noted on the card, will that prevent them from taking things out if it's above
Yes.
$10?
Any charges for replacement costs, either damaged or lost, count as being part of the excessive charges. So it's either fines or fees over $10 or any damaged or lost charge. And we generally will work with people on that. But, as far as the policy goes, that's what we're defining as the excessive charges.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, well, then I will make a motion that we accept the circulation policy.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? Okay, all in favor? 400. Thank you, Alyssa. Obviously you did a very good job because this made a lot of sense. Like as I was saying to you, and I looked it over, I'm like, oh, why does it say that? That makes more sense the way you did it. So thank you for clarifying that and removing all the mentions of fines.
So while we still have Alyssa, I just want to mention that she found a product that will allow people to renew their cards online, if you want to just fill them in on what that is. It's not a policy, so this is more of a procedural thing, and there's no cost to this service.
Wonderful.
So
We'd love
even
to hear about it.
Yeah, so when I first moved into this position, I went and visited with Alexa, who's the circulation head at Amherst, and she was, just going over the stuff that they do. And they, I think it was about a year ago, implemented an online renewal procedure for people to be able to renew their cards online without having to come in. And I think this would be something that would be really great for our community. I've had a couple people who are non-residents, who are either they're paying for the non-resident card, they pay the $100 yearly, or their workplace is located in Merrimack, but they're currently working from home. So it's kind of an inconvenience to come in. And so that would be great for them. And we also have some people who are mostly homebound, so it's just really a difficult thing to come in to renew the card, especially when they're mostly just using like our online resources. So the site that I found is called Zoho. It's the one that Amherst uses. So we would just use basically what they have as a template with a few tweaks here and there for how we sort of run things. And so it's a secure platform. It's essentially just a large form, and patrons will fill it out with all their information. They're able to upload any documentation showing their either proof of residence or proof of employment as needed, and then they would submit it. It would be reviewed by myself or the circulation staff. We would make the appropriate renewal changes, and for anyone who has a charge, that non-resident fee, we would just charge it to the account, and then they could take care of it online. So that's
Great.
Generally how it works. So if you have any questions about it, I'd be happy to answer.
And it's great that it's already been tested, right?
Right.
It's a proven product, so
Yeah.
that's great.
Yeah, they found a lot of success with it. It's not, I think Alexa had said they had about maybe 100 in the year, but that's still, pretty good. There's 100 patrons that this was
Yeah.
useful for. So.
That's great. Wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you for
welcome.
taking that initiative and doing that. It's great. Any other questions while we have Alyssa here?
Okay, I do. Mainly because it just happened to me and my husband. Our cards expired. I
Yep.
guess that's the right word. And is there a way to give us a
Yes.
notice 3 days, 5 days, a week beforehand?
Yes, so I heard from Jen that it happened, and I knew that we had notice language about that. and it had actually just been turned off when we had that like 3-month closure and had never been turned back on. So that has been turned back on.
Yes.
I tested it with my account. It does work. So
Yay,
Great.
thank
it's
you.
10 days in advance of an expiration.
Plenty.
People will get an email or text notice about it.
Wonderful.
That's fantastic.
Great.
Thank you.
Yeah, unfortunately, sometimes we don't know something's a problem until it actually is a problem,
Right,
right?
right.
So that's great. Good.
That's great.
Okay. Any other questions? No, great. Thank you so much,
Yeah, thank
Alyssa,
you for
for
having me.
joining us. We really appreciate it. So,
Thanks.
great. While we're here, should we just continue with the other policies? We'll just, because we, all right, so we have an ILL policy to look at. So interlibrary loan.
Have a good night.
Again, it looks like this is primarily because of the fines. We just removed that we were going to not charge fees
Mm-hmm.
for interlibrary loan. That's the only change.
Yeah.
Does anyone have any questions for Yvette about that change? I think that was something you mentioned to us that you were going to be doing,
Yep.
so. Okay, then I will make a motion that we accept the interlibrary loan policy.
I second.
Thank you, Sohini. Any further discussion? Janet is very quick to want to vote on this. All in favor? 400. Thank you. And then we have one with quite a few more changes, the Notary Public and Justice of the Peace policy. So is this removing fees and then a few other things?
Yeah,
it
this
looks
was
like?
also removing fees, and then it seemed to be unnecessarily wordy.
Mhm.
So I was trying to, once I realized how wordy the original was, I was like, can I get this on one page? And we had in the previous draft of this, RSA 455 printed out and attached to it, which I think, I don't really think that's necessary because we can do an embedded link to it. But we do have not only notary public services, but justice of the peace services, which follows the same guidelines as a notary. So it seemed to make sense to include it in this since it's really the same.
Yeah.
It's such a similar service. So not a lot of changes in what we're actually doing,
Right.
but
Mhm.
just really trying to tidy up the language.
Yep. I did notice it says for benefits of the residents of our community. Can someone from out of town come in and get the
Yes.
service? Okay.
So maybe strike that.
I mean, it is for the benefit of our residents, if other people take advantage of it. It's not that I just wasn't sure if it was limited or not.
No, it's not. Because this is the one where we took out the $3 fee for non-residents.
Mm-hmm.
But I was probably more distracted in lieu of fees, donations to the library
know.
are
Yeah,
welcome,
I
which
was like,
yeah.
really?
I was
yeah,
shocked
no,
about that.
We're good. Okay.
But
I don't have any strong feelings about it either way. I just wanted to clarify if it was available to people. I think we normally, when people are looking for the service, they're not going to say, could I read your policy ahead of time? This is more like a guideline, right? They're just going to call and
They're
you're going to
gonna
say,
call.
yes, we do that for
I
you.
mean, sure, but I think if we strike the residents of and just have
For
our
benefits of our community. Okay, let's
then
do that.
There will be no confusion for
Further down the line
further
too.
down the line,
Okay,
yeah.
so can
I
we
think
do
that's a
that?
good
We'll
idea.
remove, so we'll just say NHRSA 455 for the benefit of our community.
Mhm.
So, okay.
Good.
Great. Any other changes or questions for Yvette? Okay. Then I will make a motion that we accept the Notary Public and Justice of the Peace policy.
I'll second.
Thank you, Karen. Any further discussion? Okay, all in favor? 400. Great. All right. Thank you for being accommodating and moving that. It didn't seem productive, or I'm sure, I don't know why Alyssa didn't want to stay for the whole meeting, but here we go. So, okay. So February action items, I had sent them out to Mike, but I don't believe that they made it into the minutes. So the action items that I have, and I think I sent them to everybody else too. The first one was that Yvette and I were going to meet with Paul McCallie. Yvette was unable to join me on the day that both Paul and I were available, so I met with him. We had a great discussion about the possibility of investigating further the MYA site. He's going to think about some things and get back to me. Obviously, we would want to talk to the people at MYA. We want, we'll want to talk to the town council, but we thought that Mr. McCallie was a great first step. So he and I had a great discussion about that. Finance committee, we still need to meet to do something about the Quimby recognition. So that's still there. Chiller and HVAC quotes. Eva, have you gotten anything?
Not for that, no.
Okay. And then personnel committee. So you did mention that you had some changes to the eval. So we are going to discuss that later on. So that would be great. And then I was supposed to reach out to Ann Warner, but I'll be honest, I didn't. Between budget meetings, I wasn't sure when you were going to be back. We have the evaluations coming up. We have a lot of things to take care of before I think we can move forward on that. So it's still there. I think I'll keep it on for an action item for next month as well. And hopefully once we kind of look at our calendars and get through the evaluation process and the executive department head interviews, we'll have a better idea of maybe May or June would be a good time, or whoever's on the board. So we'll see. Okay. So those were what I had for action items. SMP, strategic plan, and chiller, all the other things under old business, all come under that. We're all addressed within there. So new business, we already did our policy review. Maintenance project quotes. Whew.
Did you-
I-
What do you want
yeah.
to talk about first?
I think we should talk. So we have really 4 things that well, maybe 5 really on our plate. We need a fire panel. We need to look at the railing going downstairs. We have the elevator. We have chiller and or HVAC, and then we have a roof leak. To my mind, those are the 5 biggest things. The roof leak, I think maybe it was mended, but I did notice on the maintenance list that was something you were waiting for guidance from us on. But the
I
slate roof, it's just there.
Oh,
it's
that's
just always
yeah,
there. It's
yes.
just always there.
Yep.
But now I guess I should add the beam and the beam that goes under also. The beam from the stairs out front are also things we need to think about.
And then the railing.
Oh,
that's
that-
And the railing out front.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so we have a lot. I feel like we're in that position where, this board and former boards have been so careful and tried to be really diligent about maintaining what we have. And now we're just reaching the point with some of them where we've really maxed them out. Like the elevator, for instance, we've really maxed that out. We're getting to the point where if there could be repairs that need to be done, we won't be able to replace the parts, or the elevator will be shut down for many weeks to do it. So, yeah. So, Yvette, what would you like to start with? We have certainly a lot in front of us.
I think the fire panel
Okay.
is
That's the easiest one. So that's
the easiest, and I think it's become the most urgent.
okay. So it looks like you have 2 quotes for the fire panel.
Yes. We had Jonathan Diaz, who's the IT coordinator for the town, help us with this. He was very, very helpful. I believe, as I understand it, the fire panels in all of the town buildings are the same age. So he's already been working on a project here and there and quoting them and finding out who vendors are, so he was able to do that for us. And one of the vendors is proprietary with their equipment. The other one is not.
Are they replacing in the town all of the fire panels as well? And who will they be going with? That would be my
I don't
questions.
know.
Because I feel like, why would we not all do the same one? Because it would make sense to be in accord, because then
Right.
the fire department's using the same fire panel. When they come in for inspection, everything is the same throughout the building. So,
I don't know their timelines for the other buildings, but.
okay.
I mean, it may have been, because I didn't speak with Jonathan and Captain Manueli about this. This was something Joanne was working with them through the building when I was probably working from home one day.
I guess are you think quote 2 is proprietary, or is it quote 1? Because
2.
I guess my concern is I looked both of these up and I wasn't able to find a lot of information on the business from quote 1.
They're smaller. They're new. but they're responsive.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what
Mhm.
Jonathan said.
I will just say, I understand that we get quotes because we want the best price, but when there's such a big disparity between quotes, that gives me cause for concern. That's, I don't know, what are other people's thoughts on that? I'm not saying I want to go with the more expensive one. I'm just wondering why there is such a huge discrepancy in price.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, I think, you know, with a lot of other services, you know, sprinkler maintenance, fire extinguisher maintenance, then the library will be included in a bid that covers the other town departments and buildings. So I could go back and ask, what is the status of the other fire panels? Because I'm hearing it, you know, I wasn't in the meeting,
Mhm.
but I'm hearing it
Right.
from people who were in the meeting that, well, yeah, you know, they're all kind of the same age. And, you know, it's like, okay, are they really? And is this a project that's going to be more of a town-wide bid?
I personally would like to know that because I'd
Yeah.
hate to see us pick one and then find out that
Yeah.
the rest of the
That's
town
fair,
went with
yeah.
a different one,
Yeah,
and this
yeah.
is a town building. And I think that, I know this is, you know, important and should do it quickly. We will be having, additional meetings coming up because we will be going through the evaluation process. So we could
Yep.
always add a vote on this
Okay.
to the beginning of our agenda before we go into non-public for
Okay.
evaluation. I mean, I don't know how other people feel about that, but I'd like to
No, I
know
agree.
if we're in accord with everybody.
I agree.
I do
Okay.
too.
Okay. So if that's okay with you, Eva, if you could
That's
just give us
fine.
some idea, and then, you know, we'll move forward on that. And I think this is, either way, either quote is something that's manageable, so it's not like it's going to affect what we do
Right.
with any of our other items, so, okay. So that will be on our action items list also.
Okay.
Okay, what would you like to do next? Can we put off the elevator looking at it first? I actually had to look at that like 2 or 3 times.
So did I was like, oh my.
Okay. Railing?
Sure. let's
Okay,
do a
let's look at
railing
the
if you like.
railing. Okay.
So the railing is another project that Joint Loss has noted for us. And they're, you know, it's a complicated project because the stair rail, there's one stair rail on one side of the stair, which is kind of the open side, and there's not one on the other side. So, you know, this is kind of, if you put a stair rail on the inside wall, then that shortens the width of the stairs.
Right.
But this, they were comfortable with this, the scope of this project, to make sure that the railing was the appropriate height and not have any open spaces, slats, which I probably didn't even see anymore. So,
Okay.
and this, I'll have to say, to find a vendor to complete this project and even come out and talk to the library about this was very challenging. Because it's a small project and it's just the stairs. It's not like we're renovating the entire building and this is a piece of it. So this was a
Mhm.
hard one to find.
So I just want to make sure I understand. They're replacing the the railing that exists?
Yes.
Okay. So there still won't be a railing on the other side because of what it would do to narrow the staircase? Okay.
And this is Mill City Iron.
This is the same company that's doing the outside DW side railings.
The outside,
The DW side exterior
door.
front,
Oh,
front
oh, oh,
steps
okay.
railings.
Okay.
Do we know
Treasurer.
what this is gonna look like?
I don't.
Would you like to see a picture of what it
No,
might?
I read it somewhere that basically this is not bells and whistles and it's just like the
Yeah,
pipe
so
offset.
what does that mean? Like what would bells and whistles on a railing be? I'm just trying to picture.
Exactly.
Like,
Oh, I don't know. I
Yeah.
mean, we don't usually ask for the bells and whistles.
well, I don't either,
Well,
but
exactly.
I think
I
when we
can-
heard that it wasn't bells and whistles, then we're like, I think that's what made, I'm like thinking, is it just like a, I don't
don't
know.
Is it steampunk? Is it my basement? I can go back, you know, and find out for this stuff as well.
Right. I'm sure it's going to be high quality and safer than what we already have, but probably, yeah.
I
We-
can go back and ask.
Okay.
Just, exactly, just,
No worries.
I don't think it's gonna prevent us from doing this. I'm just curious what
Right.
it'll look like.
And would you think that there is money in the current budget that we would pay for this with?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. And again, we will be meeting, so we'll
Yep.
get that information. Okay, so moving on to the elevator. The elevator is a costly project. So the cost to replace the elevator,
Actually, hang on.
yes,
So, with the assumption that there's money in the budget for this, which I pretty much know there is, for the railing, are we on hold? Like, if you were to tell them tomorrow, hey, we're gonna do it, is it still 5 months out? Or is it gonna start like next week?
Oh, well, you haven't told me yes. So,
Or do we wanna wait on that just to see what it would look like, even though we know we're gonna do it?
I think it's smart to know what it looks like.
Okay.
Because if you walk into the building and it's a disaster and you hate it,
But it's fixed and it
Well.
needed to be done
yeah,
for
but
safety.
but I think that if you look at it, like, okay, it's, the quote is for $16,000. We want to see what it looks like. We want to make sure it's acceptable. We might even be like, oh, we were thinking it would look like this. Maybe that's not
That's
even a
fair.
cost. Maybe that's just,
right?
oh, a different pipe. Like maybe there's something
It's fine.
that,
I'm
you
just
know,
curious.
it might not even impact the bottom line. It might just be different than what they quoted us
Okay.
on, so.
Yeah. I mean, I think, you know, in my experience, once you say yes to a vendor about a project, then they start to, let me see about on my calendar,
Okay.
Yeah.
ordering materials. I mean, it's the same as when you do anything in your house. You know,
Mhm.
it's like, okay, we have to order materials. Let me put this in and put it on the calendar. And
I also think this is a pretty big part. I mean, people are going to see it walking downstairs. It doesn't hurt to just know what we are getting, for
Okay.
sure. So,
Yeah.
okay.
it's fine. Good.
Okay. So the elevator. So just for some context, the elevator was installed in 1979.
Mm-hmm.
It's had a few minor repairs and upgrades over the years. This is from the Stanley Elevator Company representative. There is still aftermarket and third-party support for common items. However, there's definitely some exposure related to the major electronic components that aren't made anymore. This is a 40-plus-year-old piece of equipment, and they usually run for about 25 years. So we have certainly the town has gotten their money's worth out of this elevator, but we're reaching a point where we might not be able to repair it and might find ourselves in a situation of having to do it, and then we are under the gun. And then we're also in a situation where we are out in an elevator, and that puts us in a very precarious position. So, okay. So the quote for the elevator is $184,000. And I'm guessing these are like, this is who you go with, Stanley Elevator. This is
Yes.
not, yep.
So, if you, the sales rep who came in and gave us a tour of the elevator was incredibly knowledgeable. And in the lower office, there's a locked elevator room
Yep.
that the fire department can get into, but usually staff don't go in there because we're not the fire department. But if anything goes wrong with the elevator or something, then the fire department can open it up, and if there's a fire in this room, they'll be able to put it out. But basically, this room is like a good-sized closet that just has the the mechanics of how the elevator runs in it. You know, I'm not an elevator repair guy, so I don't know what the things are called, but it's you know, the motor and the drain and the whatever. I mean, it's all of the things, because the elevator is the box, but everything that runs the elevator is next to it. So fluids are going to be in this thing, and then they go across, up and across and into the elevator and elevator shaft, and all of the wiring, places where the electrical is connected. There's a phone in the elevator, you know, so it's everything. It's the brains and guts of the elevator system in this room. And he opened it up and said, well, they don't make those anymore. They don't make those anymore. And it was like, interesting. It was very interesting, where if something in that room failed, then you know, how can you repair it? There are some things that are general pieces that are like, okay, this is a, I'm going to say drain. I don't know what it was. You know, it's like, oh yeah, we can get this thing because it's not specific to elevators, but the rest of this whole big tower is specific to elevators. So it would be everything.
Well, we knew this was going to happen.
We did.
This is on the CIP,
on the CIP.
right? So we knew it was only a matter of time.
And now we have an actual number, not just a placeholder of $100,000. So
All right. So what are next steps? I'm looking at you. What's
I don't know
like,
what next steps are.
So, I mean, this is obviously a capital improvement project. That's what
Absolutely.
we'd have to go to the
Yep.
CIP. Do you know how much is in our capital improvement fund off the top of your head?
213,000.
Okay. And that's before this upcoming.
That's before this upcoming.
Mm-hmm.
It's before, yeah, that's just 213,000.
Okay.
can I ask what's the process for,
Mhm.
let's say you said, let's do the elevator in August. Let's do the elevator this next fiscal year. How would that work? Would that be able to happen?
From my understanding is
I've heard different things about. Well, I think that there's some confusion. I mean, I know you've heard what to do with to get the capital improvement money.
you have to go in
so-
front of the town council.
Mhm.
You have to bring a quote. You tell them what you need it, why you need it, what's it for, bring a quote, and essentially if they agree with you, it's a yes. And if there's money in the account, which there is.
Okay.
Mhm.
So it doesn't affect the project if we didn't include it in our this year's budget to say, we're
Nope.
gonna, this is the thing we're earmarking.
No,
Okay.
because actually the way they do it now, it's been this way for the last couple of years, is, I don't know if you looked at our budget, but that capital improvement line, or the capital reserve fund money, was removed off our budget. It's moved to the warrant article.
Okay.
And that warrant article had like fire, ambulance, police, everybody
Mhm.
who needed capital reserve funds. It went on that list.
Okay.
So yeah. So it's not like we even said, okay, this year we're gonna do the elevator. It's just a pot of money that goes in our.
Okay.
If it's approved, it goes into our earmarked for the savings account for the library and.
How will this, or I think maybe you don't know the answer, but I'm wondering if we are looking at the HVAC too, does this make us say, wait a minute, we really can only do the chiller now? That's the question about that too. Without a quote, it's hard to say, I guess, but yeah.
It's all about money
Mm-hmm.
and what money sources we're gonna tap.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if we wanted to pull all of special, all of fines, and maybe all of whatever surplus is and capital reserve, we could probably do everything. We could do the HVAC, chiller, and the elevator, but then you're tapping everything.
Yeah, that makes me nervous.
It's an option.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
Right, but then it's like, what if something happens that's unforeseen?
True.
That's we want to have that would not, I don't personally feel like that would be a responsible thing to do. I think we need to prioritize, and maybe it means that we take a step back and say, well, we have to do the chiller, but maybe the HVAC is going to have to be pushed off a little bit to do the whole
Right.
redoing.
but true, and we talked about this though, that if it's done by the same company
Yep, exactly.
doing the
They-
chiller, they
Mhm.
might set it up that's like,
Mhm.
okay, next year or the year after, when, like, we can limp you along with the HVAC part,
Mhm.
or the heater
The-
part.
Yep.
And just do it a couple of years from now.
Right, but that the part that they're putting in is going to be able to be expanded
Exactly.
upon. It's not gonna be just
Mhm.
like a standalone, we
Mhm.
think. So, yeah, we really need to find out from them, like, what, I know it's hard to get quotes from people. I know that would just be helpful to have like a.
Yep.
Yeah, okay. All right.
And the elevator is also, I mean, it's the whole safety, and there's a whole slew of items to list why we need it fixed, right?
Well, there's ADA compliance
There's-
too, right?
Yeah,
That's,
one of the things when he was talking to us, I don't know if he probably didn't put it on here. If the fire department comes with an ambulance and the bed, the stretcher that they use will not fit in the elevator.
Will the new elevator be big enough for, will it fit?
I was gonna say,
They
they're
can't,
not
that,
cha-
we
they
can't change
the
that,
shaft.
like,
I no, you can't. So I'd have to go back, but we were kind of you know, laughing about everything is grandfathered in this building.
right, if that's not gonna change with the new
Yeah, no.
elevator, that, it
No.
is what it is, so. Okay. What are people's thoughts? Sohini, Karen, what are you thinking?
My eyes just happened to fall upon the line. I don't want to give the impression that we are sitting on a ticking time bomb. This is from the letter from the elevator gentleman.
Can I understand that, costs change too. I do worry about, it says that things could change. There's 184. I mean, we don't really, if things go up, we need to make sure that we have reserves available to pay the difference. That's another thing, so.
Since you're going, well, I'm a little confused by his quote, because there's the 2022 dollar amount that is in that green line, and then there's the 2022 under like planned jobs and beyond, all in the red. And I just was confused on which one I was looking at. I mean, the quote ends up being all on the far right line, all the red line, all the way down to the bottom, but then why give us the left?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I don't know.
I didn't know either. And then some of the numbers aren't the same. So again, I just a little confused.
Yeah, like the per landing fixture equipment is 4,000 and that shows 8,000.
So this is a total budget amount. I think we actually need a quote. This is just to give us, because it says it's to give us an idea for our capital improvement. I think to vote on it, we need an actual quote outlining what they're going to do for us. This is
Scope of
not
the
a
work?
quote. Yeah,
Yeah.
well, because this is not really a quote. This is just for planning purposes, right? So we need a quote, because I usually would say quote, wouldn't it? And it would outline
Yeah,
exactly
and-
what they're going to do and the
yeah.
specifications
Mhm.
of it.
Scope of work,
So, yeah. I mean, I think this gives us an idea that
Which is
this is,
great.
this, right, and this is something that we need to
Mhm.
move forward on. It's something that we do have the funding for, to be saying, yes, this is probably what we're going to do. But I think we need an actual quote
Okay.
that outlines scope of work, I guess is the word you're using, before I would feel comfortable going before town council to ask for it.
Okay.
But I think, is that okay with everybody? Because
Yeah.
just like one of the alarm quotes we had, I liked that they were or the fire panel rather, very
Mhm.
specific in exactly what they were going to be doing. And I think we need to have something very specific, not just an estimate. And it does say it would take about 20 weeks, so this would be something that would have to be
Thank
put
you.
off to the summer. Equipment takes about 20 weeks to survey, order, and fabricate. So if they can get the quote to us, we can look at the quote, we can vote on it, on whether we want to move forward. Then the next step would be to set up an appointment to go before the town council. So I think that if they can get that to us, maybe we could move
Okay.
quickly so that we can get this locked in with them before things go up even more, so.
Yeah.
So I guess we are not really giving you like, I mean, we are going to do these things. I'm hoping that the trustees will vote to do them, but I
Mhm.
guess we just need a little more information on them all, so.
This is great. I mean, you've asked for quotes for years and haven't gotten them, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is great.
Yeah, because it says a budget report and recommendations. I think that's
Yeah.
different than an actual quote, so. And I personally am in favor, and I guess they're gonna probably give us both things, but I like the idea of them working with the subcontractors versus us hiring out the subcontractors. So, that's, any additional information they can provide us about the subcontractor costs. I think we
Okay.
do want a turnkey operation. I don't think we want you guys project managing the elevator, so. Says anybody who's ever done a house project, we want somebody to.
Exactly.
They're the experts too, right? They know who to hire, they know who they've worked with, they'll know how to get it done best.
As
so.
well as if there's ends up being an issue, you just have that one person to go to.
Yes, yep,
They're like, yep.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
great. But thank you for the information. It did,
Warranty stuff, guarantee, warranty, there's gotta be something like that too,
I'm
right?
sure well, yeah, can you ask them that too, like warranty and.
Yep.
Thanks. There was also on the quote, on one part, it said emergency, or not the quote, I'm sorry, the budget forecast, it said emergency generator work, but then it didn't have it on the other side
Yeah,
too,
I
so
know.
that's, I think would be good to have some clarification for that.
Okay.
Okay. All right, back to, were those all the quotes you had for us to look at this?
All right, since we're still on maintenance, what is the status of the carpet?
Oh, we've selected colors for each zone. And the carpet is, it's gonna be like, it could be like this with kind of a pattern because of the shape of each piece. So, the next thing is asking the vendor to give us a mock-up drawing of what it would actually look like, because the only thing we saw was one piece. And so we don't know what that means in terms of a pattern, and they can create that and show it to us, and we can approve, ask for changes. The children's room wants to have 2 different colors in it, to create kind of like an archway to go from one door to the desks where the staff are, and then archway to the other door, but then you would still need some kind of transitional color to go between the 2 different colors. And, I think once we see the mock-up, we could make any changes and say, wow, that looks terrible, I hate that, after all. So, that's where we are.
And since they're gonna be squares too, you're not really making a lifetime commitment to something, right? So the children's room could have a color and then be like, wow, that got soiled really easily with the amount of traffic we have here, and those squares can be replaced. So
Right.
that's a really nice feeling to give them, that they can have some changes.
Yes.
Great. Any other questions for Yvette about maintenance? Right, we're moving on to our next item, which is the general ledger, invoiced manifest, and open POs.
Yvette, I don't know if you'll know this, but in the middle of the POs, maybe it was on this one. Yeah, there's the red words that say, at some point in the future, funds should be transferred from the line 158502 to the 158321 to cover the tests. Why? I mean, is it just for completeness? Is it, I don't understand the real purpose behind it.
Oh, yeah, it's really, the purchase of carpet is a different kind of line versus the test for maintenance and building and grounds, so 502-321. I think it's more of housekeeping.
Okay.
Okay.
Because one is buildings, but then one is maintenance, so
Okay.
it's how you cut it.
That's why I was, exactly, that's
Yeah.
why I just was like, I wonder if this is just like you said, housekeeping, or just how you organize it,
Yeah.
or just
Yeah.
one of those.
Any other questions or concerns for the budget, the open POs, or the ledger?
No, I didn't have any.
Okay, great. Moving on to the director's report.
Okay.
Oh, here we go. Actually, hang on. There was the recap of available funds in the
Yes.
15, and there was that whole money in, money out stuff.
Yes.
What is that?
That's the stuff that, when you had your finance meeting, you talked to Joanne about.
Okay,
That's that.
okay. Okay.
She said, I don't think you voted on expending like further computers. She
We
came
haven't.
in with a computer question.
Right.
And
Several
then
weeks ago.
we went off on a lot of building
Yes.
projects.
Yes.
So,
Yeah, I saw that in your director's report,
Yep.
that
Yeah.
that was
Too.
something you were
Okay.
waiting for. Okay.
Yeah, I just didn't know what all the lines were for, that's all.
yeah, because when she and I had talked, it was, okay, now we've got the fire panel project coming up. Do we have money to pay for that? So
Got
she
it.
was looking for what is available
Got
in
it.
that line.
Okay. That makes much more sense.
Yes. So that's the maintenance. Again, it's like maintenance buildings.
And that makes more sense why she's saying, well, then let's move the money that was used out of that line.
Right.
Let's like put it back, so then there's more money for something else to spend.
Mhm.
Now it's becoming clear. I got it.
I think it also makes sense too, if you were to ever look back and see like,
Sure.
oh, this money went to the installation and purchase of the carpet versus what's this money that's something different, so. Okay. I actually put a little highlighted circle near we are still waiting the board's approval to purchase 3 new CPUs to be used for public computer access. Okay. So that was something that came before us. Do you remember the amount that you were looking for the computers?
I can get it.
Do you, Janet?
I was gonna say, I can get it.
Okay.
I have it. Just give me a minute.
Yeah.
It would be in minutes, meeting packets, there it is. All right, this was January, right?
Hmm.
There it is, got it right there. Okay, so the total, okay, so she wanted it's for, all right, let me back up. It's to purchase 3 additional new computers to be installed in the main service floor for public use. The proposal was to take the money from the King information for the new book drop door, or whatever it was for,
Mhm.
to be closed. Then 2,200 would be allocated from the building account, the 8502, to the account of 8504, to purchase the new computers from Dell. So it's 2,200, and then 1,300 for the setup and installation. So that's 3,500 total. And then essentially there's that other, the 2,500 that's left over is just to be allocated to Mill City Iron for the outside
Mhm.
railing. Though the idea is that there still would need to be more for that railing.
Is this all from I see the open PO for King.
It's all from that.
Okay.
So the original PO is for
6,000, yep.
22 would be for the computers, 1,300 would be for the installation setup from Second Source, and then the remaining 2,500 would go towards the Mill City Iron for the outside railing.
Okay, so do we want to make a motion to actually do that with that open PO, to reallocate it, to do those purchasing? So would you like to repeat that for our
Sure.
secretary?
Well, I would like to make a motion
Mhm.
to move the money from the open PO for King Information. It's $6,000 out of the 158502 line, which is building, and reallocate it to 2,200
Yep.
to the 158504 for 3 Dell computers.
Go back to, what was the line?
158504. It's like 15-8504. For 3 Dell computers.
Yep.
1,300 to the line 158353.
1583.53.
Yep. For the installation and setup. And then the remaining 2,500 goes to 1583.21
Yep.
for the outside, for Mill City Iron for the outside railing.
Okay.
That's it.
I'll second it. Okay, any discussion? Okay, all in favor? 400, okay. I'm happy to send an email to Tom Boland about this, but I know that he did want to see the minutes last time before they were willing to do that. So even if it's in a draft format, and
Oh, on this?
yes,
Okay,
yep. So
yes.
so I'll send him an email. But last time he did ask for minutes
Yeah.
also,
Yes.
so I will just
Yes.
yeah. So
I'll send it to you as soon as I write it up.
wonderful, thank you.
And it'll be like a segment of the minutes.
Yep, he just
that
wanted
way
it to know that that was in the public record, that was what we were doing,
Yep.
so, okay. Great. Okay, was there anything else from your report that we needed to address?
Just letting you know that following the state and the CDC's updated guidelines, the department heads and I were in agreement that we were ready to move forward with optional masking for staff as of March 1st. All the signage referring to patron optional masking has been removed or will be removed. I know they took down the plastic dividers on the service desks, and then of course we're going to still have hand sanitizer available. Youth Services is still going to require masking during their programs. When the weather gets warm, their next round of story times is going to be outside. But right now, that's where they are.
Okay.
Did Mill City fire panel. I'm just trying to see what I highlighted. We've gone over the policies already.
Okay.
For the, under directors' meeting updates for GMILKs, the Rogers Memorial Library in Hudson will be joining GMILKs in April.
Oh,
The catalog is going to be offline between April 11, 12, and 13, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, during the migration. So this is, right now, Rogers staff are cleaning up their catalog. So if there's a weeding project that should happen, you're gonna weed now because they're gonna move all these records over and integrate into our system of Polaris. and it's a lot of work. The GMILK staff are working with the Rogers staff and with the GMILK's board, just making sure everything is ready. And a press release should go out either tonight or tomorrow, because I just approved it as president. But that's going to be really exciting to have Hudson join us.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, they're about our size.
they're about our size, and, you know, we still have people who travel between, you know, Hudson and Merrimack, Bedford, Manchester, so it's really convenient for our patrons, and it's a beautiful library, you know, so we'll be able to partner with them, and it's exciting.
Great.
Everyone's really, really happy about it.
That's wonderful.
great.
Yeah. Let's see. And, you know, in terms of the House bills that we were watching, House Bill 1529, which was requiring background checks for library employees and volunteers, was withdrawn from the sponsor. They hadn't realized that they received incorrect information from someone who wanted this bill, and that we were already requiring background checks for employees. And we don't use a lot of volunteers in the library. I mean, we have your board, Friends board, you help at book sales, but you all don't require background checks for your board, so. It was moot. The other one, the House Bill 1033, we're still watching about lobbying. The warrant that's been on the school board warrants, or the school district warrants, there are more than just Jaffrey and Ringe in New Hampshire. Once Jaffrey Ringe, the director over at Jaffrey, had come back and said, okay, this happened at our meeting last night, and this language was taken out. So, you know, the school board can't tell the library trustees that you have to do this, because you're the library trustees and you make your own decisions. But then when the director at Jaffrey had given everyone an update on the email list, then all these other towns were saying, oh, that was in mine, that was in mine. So there were quite a few more that I didn't know about, but they've all been voted down so far. Yeah. One of the things that wasn't included in my director's report, because it came up during our department head meetings, which I held on Monday, was National Library Week is coming up in April. And we are going to have, you know, some raffles available for patrons. We were trying to remember what we did last year, and we had some giveaways. So we're going to do the same kind of thing where we have swag. We can have it as a giveaway. They're already planning how to put baskets together for like free raffles for patrons. They asked me to ask you if we could ask for $300 for decorations and any extras to go in the baskets.
Yes.
Sure. Sure. Yes, they can. Yes.
I'm assuming passports. We have a lot of passport money.
Actually, can we, well, I would like to propose to up that to more like 500, to also do like a lunch or food.
Well, there was a
or-
separate ask. 'Cause
Okay.
I saw this as two separate kinds
Okay.
of money.
Okay.
One for the outward facing
Yeah.
Okay.
decorations, make the baskets, whatever.
Okay.
And that would be one. And then the second one was, what would you like to do for the staff? I talked to the department heads, and they all liked the snacks. Like when even during the closure,
yes. Karen's ready for a big shopping
They-
trip. So.
because it's convenient.
Yes.
And you can grab it, and you don't have to be tied to your schedule to say, okay, we're all having lunch or we're all having dinner. So, and they pretty much, if there could be an array of snacks available versus
Great.
all lunch, they'd rather
Great.
have
Done.
snacks.
That's easy.
Yeah.
So
All right. So
they
let's
really liked that.
So I would like to make a motion that we give the staff $300, or we allocate $300 to prizes and decorations for American Library,
Okay.
or for National Library Week. Is that what I
National
want?
Library
National
Week.
Library Week. Okay. So that's the first thing. So we'll make that motion.
I second.
Okay. Any further discussion? Okay. All in favor? 400. Then how much would you like us to vote, or what did we do last time? Was it 200 or more? They,
You know what, let's just do 200, because then
Yeah.
if there's extra just from after this week, you have it. If the staff liked it,
They did.
Yep.
I mean,
All
do
right, so
it.
I will make a motion that we spend up to $200 on snacks for the staff for National Library Week.
I second.
Thank you, Sohini. Any further discussion? Okay, all in favor? And 400, and I'm guessing that there will be a shopping trip planned. So
We can go again. Yeah.
All right, have fun.
Great, okay.
And when is National Library Week?
It's the first week of April, April 4 through 9.
Through 9, okay. Okay, so we'll go before then. Okay.
Great.
Thank you.
If you ask the staff and they have specifics that they would like, I know you've said in the past, they like snacks, they'll take whatever, which is what you usually tell us. But some people might be like, I really don't like those. Or I really like these better. Let's let us know.
I'll find out. I remember one time I was doing the snack buying, and I bought Pop-Tarts. Like, because I was thinking, okay, breakfast snack and lunch type snack. And some people on our staff really love Pop-Tarts, like untoasted
Yeah.
Pop-Tarts. And it was like, I haven't had a Pop-Tart in so many years.
Sure.
I'll find out. I can find out.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Yep.
Do you have anything else for us?
I have a
no.
question.
Sure.
So the VHS tapes that you found.
Yes. So that's something you
So
guys
I'm
should
wondering, I
decide
was
on.
wondering about that, like, is there an expiration for when you have to keep meetings like that?
I have no idea. I don't know.
I don't know,
I
for
mean,
me
I
that,
think it's
for
more
me
about
that.
minutes, not necessarily.
Okay, I was gonna, for me that falls under the, we didn't know we have them, so we shouldn't keep them rule, but that's me, so. They're VHS recordings of old trustee meetings.
Yeah, from 2005.
Where did you find them?
in the
Oh, they're in
period.
periodical storage.
Oh, in periodical storage.
10 to 12 VHS.
Yes.
Oh. I mean, I'm sure we have electronic copies of the same meetings that are stored somewhere. I mean, you have, I
Well-
assume minutes go all the way back to
I have no
From-
idea.
2005.
Well, there are other files, trustee files, that we keep in O'Leary with our old files, invoices, you guys have meeting minutes, it's everything that would be in a
Mhm.
packet. And it's been a little while since any of the trustees went through them, and,
Dated.
we have them dated of how long do you need to keep certain things. So it's just a matter of when you want to do it.
I
Okay.
don't know how far. I mean, maybe
I
there
don't
is
know.
some, like,
Yes.
7 years, 10 years. I
Yeah,
don't know.
so why
I
don't,
don't know.
I'll see if I can find some information about that and see what we should do with those
Okay.
videos, so.
Interesting.
Okay. Alrighty. Treasurer's report.
Okay. Treasurer's report. Okay. So, let me get that up. Pull up my balance sheet. Alright. Why can't I find this? Balance. There it is. Okay. So on the balance sheet, I actually have a couple things to go through. So on our balance sheet, for our finances for the month of February, fines started with $7,147.99, and we ended with $8,033.76. Special started with $36,973.51, and ended, make ended the month with 37,102.57 cents. So those are our balances. Back in January, there was a deposit error. Some money from special went into fines and some of fines money went into special. So I just want to move that money to the correct accounts. So from fines to special, I need to make a motion to move $983.26.
I'll second.
Okay. Any questions or further discussion for Janet? Okay, all in favor? 400, thank you.
And then from special to fines is $91.84.
I second.
Okay, any further discussion?
Say that about 91.
$91.84.
Okay, all in favor? Great.
Every year we have to send our financial, like, our annual finances, like what goes in our annual report to the state or to the national, New Hampshire Charitable, NHTA. No, I can't even speak today. It's New Hampshire Charitable Trust. There we go. I sent that back in January. The DCU connection is back working. So keeping my fingers crossed that everything is linked up and it's working. And then I wanted to give you an update on the Fidelity account.
Mhm.
I sent you guys when the market was severely tanking. I was getting nervous. As of, I wrote this down. As of, where is it? There it is. As of today's close, it's at 20,002 cents, or 29,002 cents. So it has lost 1,000. So I wanted to bring it to your attention. I wanted to see what you guys thought, whether it's a leave it there, not leave it there.
I think between COVID and the Ukraine, that it's just going to be volatile for a while. And I don't know, I would tend to leave it.
Okay. I would too.
I would too. I
I
would
would
too.
too.
Yeah, I would not pull it out when
Yeah.
it gets
It's-
getting lower in panic. That doesn't make sense. We're just
Yep.
gonna, yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
I
Yep, we don't need that. We're not relying on that as our
Exactly.
special, like, let's just ride this out and see what
Okay. Yeah.
happens. Yep.
thank you. Made me
Mhm.
feel good
Yeah,
because I was
no,
stressing.
Totally. No, no. And I don't think you should. I think that you made a very good choice of investment. We knew that
It is
wanted to manage.
conservative.
Yep, we wanted to manage the money to actually make a little money on it and put it to best use. So I think that, this is part of what is going to do. And
So,
that's why we didn't put every penny that we have in there, right? We're just
Right.
saying, so it's fine. It's all good.
Yeah, I agree.
okay. So that's that. And then the last. Oh, that's it.
Okay, great. Any questions for Janet? Okay. Acceptance of minutes. So at the last meeting, it was me, Janet, Mike, because
And Yvette.
Karen and Yvette were unavailable. So Mike took the minutes for
And
us.
Sohini.
I'm sorry, and Sohini. No, Sohini was not at the last minute.
No,
Ma-
she
ma-
wasn't.
She was not there. I'm sorry. Sohini and Karen were not at the last meeting. So I did forward you the minutes that were sent to us. I am not comfortable with them as they currently stand because I don't feel like they really give an accurate record of what took place. I think that they're a little too bare bones when we're thinking about minutes as a reflection of what took place in the meeting. If we were to look back on this, I'm not sure that we would know exactly what happened. So I'm going to offer to look back at I mentioned it to Mike, but I'm going to look back through watch our video and add in some of the detail. For instance, the treasurer's report. It would be helpful to have that in there and some other details that are missing. So if people are comfortable with that, then that's what I am offering to do. So, okay. So, yeah, we'll use this as the beginning, but I don't feel like if I were to look back on this in 2 years or anybody were was, they would know exactly what had happened. So a little more narrative will be added, and then I will send them out to you before the next meeting. Okay? Okay. Great. Building Exploratory Committee has not met. Friends of the Public Library, I was unable to attend. Yvette and Mike attended that one. Do you have any news for us?
They are not going to have a book sale in April. I was kind of asking, do you want to have a sale during National Library Week? And they don't really have information on the logistics for holding the sale at O'Leary. Victoria wasn't able to make the meeting. She's the president, and she had already reached out to the board contact at O'Leary to see, can we rent this space or reserve this space, or how does it work? And hasn't heard back yet. So it's in a couple weeks, so they were not ready. What else? That was the main thing I remember. I don't have minutes for that meeting.
Okay. That's okay. I'm sure if there was something pressing or that you needed our input on, but that's good to know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
The Development Fund Committee has not met. What about the Town Center Committee?
Yes. Just give me a second, because I think I kept running across my notes. Yeah, the Town Center Committee met on February 18th. And, the Winter Carnival had come up. Nelson Disco, as the chair of the Town Center Committee, had been in touch with Matt Kasparian and Parks and Rec. And so as the Town Center Committee, two of us decided to attend the Winter Carnival and to walk around, and we had brochures that were updated about the projects that the Town Center Committee are working on, and so on. And so because it was going to be all outdoors, the carnival, what we did is we walked around and handed out brochures and talked to people, and also talked to a lot of the vendors and the people who were displaying items and so on. It was a very nice turnout. It was a lot of fun.
Nice.
And there was a booth from the library, and there was the Conservation Commission, and all sorts of people, and lots of families, lots of kids, lots of sledding. It was a lot of fun. So, but it was kind of at the last minute, because it was one of those, is it gonna warm up? Is it gonna rain? Are we not gonna have any snow? And it was perfect. It was, I enjoyed it. I had a good time. And we gave away all the brochures, and that was fine. No new projects are being added for sidewalk development at this time. We finished Woodbury Street, and now things are just going to be quiet for a few minutes, and to see when funds are going to be available again. Let's see. There's a new project manager on the Sauhegan River Trail that we have been held up, and he appears to be really doing a lot. So and getting things going. So hopefully the state is going to approve the historical and environmental things that are holding it up, and we're hoping for the spring of '23, so a year from now. to get that going. And yeah, that's about it. The Merrimack TV has developed like a website for the Town Center Committee. And so if you ever want to see, and is putting up short videos and so on, things so that if you want to do activities around town and you want to know what things are available, so. It was a pretty good meeting. We got a lot done.
Great, thank you. Awesome. Okay, Personnel Committee. Sohini, you did mention there were some changes to the annual review. Is there something you'd like to share with us?
No, that's not in this one, not the staff one.
No, it's not that one.
It's not that one.
Nope, she has the one, she already
The-
printed it out.
The regular annual review, were there things that you wanted to, changes you were suggesting?
Yeah, I emailed today.
Yep. Did,
Okay.
do you want to talk about them at all, or?
It's for.
Yeah, let's,
directors.
yep, as just talking about the review, we can do that completely in
Yeah,
public. So
yeah.
what are the changes that you wanted to propose?
Yeah, so.
Everything you read.
Do you know what? I'm sorry that I did not have that printed out, so could you tell us what the changes are?
So, first of all, I did a little formatting. And
Okay.
second is, you want me to bring my laptop?
No, just tell it, why don't we
Okay.
discuss?
And then I added a few things to the, like in the leadership
Okay.
portion, and to the management operations, like a couple of sentences here and there. And to the, I'll go one by one.
Okay.
Okay. So, in the leadership portion, I said about, like, just after evaluates library collections, it's like determines patron needs and translates these into appropriate acquisitions and services.
Okay.
And then the next one is determines the collection is current and reflects present community needs and interests. So those two were the additions. And then from the management, under the operations, I added one, identify peak service hours and deploy staff accordingly. And then under the finance is like adequately justifies the need for staff development funds, actively campaigns for such funds, and adequately account for the use of such funds.
Great.
Okay, and for the personal is identify potential managers and assist in the pursuit of career goals. And another one is addresses staff grievance in a timely manner. And then at the end where the questions are there, I added just two small things. One was the short and long-term goals, and the thing what would be the most priority. So
Great. Thank you.
I liked him. So,
and the rest remains the same.
Okay. So the procedure is usually, well, I guess we would have to approve the changes, and then if I just want to make sure I have this correctly, Yvette, you would fill out your version of it,
Yeah.
and then we as a board would each fill out our own version, and then we would find a date to come together and meet and come up with one version, and then we would also set up a date to meet with Yvette. So, okay. So I guess the first thing is to make a motion to approve the changes to the library director annual review, because we certainly want to all be on board with that. So,
Well, Sohini could have just made that motion,
okay.
right?
just up at the top,
Mhm.
the dates need to change.
Yeah,
Yes.
2020. Okay.
I went by Karen's one, which had 2020, 2021.
You're right. So
I
it
made
should be
it by
2020.
Yeah.
It should be 2021 to 2022. Yep. So Sohini, did you want to make a motion to change the annual review as noted?
And did I need to mention all of them?
No?
Nope.
Nope.
Okay.
Just to,
Okay. Yeah, so I make a motion to make certain changes as noted in the library director annual review for 2021, 2022.
Okay,
I'll second.
great.
Thank you.
Okay, any further discussion? Okay, all in favor? 400. Thank you for going through those changes. I saw
Yes.
that you wanted to speak to it, and I'm sorry I didn't print it out. So, and it makes a lot of sense, all of the things that you
Yeah.
added in there. So
Mhm.
thank you. Okay, great. Finance Committee. But nothing to report. And then under review March's action items, I apologize. There was something I wanted to bring up, and I guess maybe it could have gone under policy because it might be for your consideration. So I'm going to put it in here as a March action item just to sort of put it out there if people want to think about this. It's come to my attention recently that there's been concerns about elected board members having their cell phones out during meetings because it could raise the question of whether people are communicating with somebody when they should not be, and there's like a perceived impropriety regarding right to know issues. And I know that Mike often uses his to look at documents, so I did give him a heads up that I was going to be mentioning this to you just for your consideration. We don't have a policy in place about it, but I know that Yvette, when I asked her about this, she also had said that the New Hampshire State Library, I believe, was saying that that was not something that you should not have your phone out at meetings. So I just wanted to put it out there for you, under the sort of know better, do better, right? Now that this has been raised, that there have been issues on other elected boards where people were concerned. A computer is a different situation because it's not the same, from what I understand, the instantaneous communication that could be going back and
Gotcha.
forth between texts or what
Yep.
I think is the cause for concern. So that's really the
Yep.
issue. So I'm not saying we need to do something. I'm just saying I heard about this. I feel like it was my responsibility to bring it to the board for your consideration and to think about it. So if we just want to put it out there, if people want to do their own investigation or just give it some thought, what your thoughts and feelings are, if it's a policy, if it's not something we're concerned about. I think we're always trying to be transparent and want to let people know how we're communicating. So it was just worth knowing that this is a concern. So does anyone have any thoughts or questions for me about that? Okay. Great. So other action items. I have that I still need to contact Ann Warner. We're going to find out if there's a plan in place for the fire. I say we, Yvette is going to find out if there is a plan in place for fire panels in multiple town buildings. We're still waiting on a quote from the chiller HVAC. I'm going to see if there are dates that we need to be aware of in keeping videos and minutes, which I guess then will translate into eventually going up to O'Leary and making decisions.
Sure. I mean, I can also ask Jared to bring down boxes
Sure.
that
And
are
then-
kind of old,
Yep.
and then you won't have to go up there.
Okay.
Just
Thank you.
take care of it.
I'll find that out. And then also, I'm going to review our video from the last meeting, as painful as that is, to enhance the notes. There's nothing like hearing your own voice, right? Let's see. There will be trustees doing a shopping trip to get snacks for National Library Week. I will send Tom Bolin an email outlining the changes from for the open PO, the reallocation of it. And Karen will get us the minutes so that I can forward them to
Yes.
him as well.
Yes.
That is what I have. Is there anything I'm missing?
I'll forward the
Thank you.
corrections and this updated one.
Okay.
The last two, Tom Bolin.
I will send him an email noting the reallocation of that open PO, and then you'll follow
Oh,
up by
yeah,
sending
yeah,
me the
yeah.
minutes. So, okay.
And then the last one,
The shopping?
yes, oh, the
Yep, shopping. Okay.
I just had too many there.
It's okay.
Are we still gonna do anything for Quimby?
Yes, and the Quimby one is still on there that the Finance Committee needs to meet with Yvette. Okay. We are going to be going into a non-public session, but before we do, I will just go through the upcoming events. The Friends of the Library will be meeting on March 28th at 7 p.m. via Zoom Town Meeting Part 2. Voting day is April 12th, 2022. The Merrimack Public Library Board of Trustees monthly meeting. Did we need to reschedule that date?
That's up to you. We can talk about it.
Okay. It's currently scheduled for April 19th, but maybe being rescheduled, so we will see. And the Development Fund Committee, there is no meeting on the agenda just yet, but that's on our upcoming dates. Okay. Then I'm going to make a motion that at 8:28 we go into a non-public session per RSA 91A32A personnel. And we do I have a second for that motion? Thank you, Sohini. And we do need to do a roll call vote to go into non-public. So, Sohini?
I'm present.
Karen?
Yes.
Janet?
Yes.
And I will say yes. So we are in non-public.